Finding the perfect formal wear with the best fit can be a daunting task for women, and KAARYAH aims to solve just that with wardrobe solution that fit 18 different sizes. It has something for everyone, literally. So Nidhi Agarwal is joining us today. Nidhi, thanks for being with us. Take us through the concept and a little bit more detail, what it's all about, how you started, and you know how things are going.
Sure. So KAARYAH basically started off wanting to be the best fit Western wear for the Indian woman, and just by virtue of it we realized that the number of sizes available in the market were not enough, which is why we went ahead and studied some 1500 odd women to arrive at these 18 different sizes. We've proven that we have in fact been able to satiate some of that, just given the benchmark return rates that we've been getting for fit. Aside from which, we've also concentrated on promising parity of fit across silhouettes. So whether it's a shirt or a top or a jacket, it will fit you in exactly the same size. And for that, we basically went ahead and invented an algorithm which sits on our website called What's My Size, and with just 3 measurements, women can understand which is their best possible fit off of these 18.
Right. Nidhi, we read a very interesting report about how you approached over 100 investors, is that right? Before you found luck with...
Absolutely right.
I mean, this is the typical story, right? In terms of, how do you maintain conviction? I mean, when you're facing, when you're facing people that are telling you that you've got it all wrong pretty much through the year.
Well, here's the thing, right? Either you convince someone or you get convinced. I've said this often as well, that my first pitch certainly didn't look at all like the last pitch, and just by virtue of that, as soon as we heard feedback, we took it in, we tried to figure out if there was something that we needed to fix or not. And so really this 1 year was a process of evolution. Therefore the final pitch was really very, very different from the first one. But then, simple rule or simple logic that we would usually apply is that either you convince someone or you get convinced. So whether it was, when it was somebody who convinced us that something wasn't right about our business, we really just took it in as feedback and fixed it. And where we were not able to convince someone, we just kept going ahead and trying to find more places to convince people and more. So really, honestly, if I were convinced that this was a bad business, then I would have given up. I was convinced that this was not a bad business, which is why we kept going, right?
Of course. And then, of course, you finally found someone who believed in it, and that was Ratan Tata. So what worked for you? And as you said, your business had also evolved in that time. So what do you think was this, factor that really swung it and where you found traction?
So as soon as we were not able to find funding, we realized that we needed to start breaking even, because hell, if someone wasn't going to give us money, then we had to be self-sufficient, and therefore our focus turned towards quality of revenue. So we started talking about net sales price, we started talking about ensuring commissions were balanced, ensuring that the channels that we needed to pick and choose and drive sales with were the best in terms of optimum unit economics. So we actually started gunning towards that, and very honestly, we were near break-even April 2014, just because we started to focus on doing good business, which would then therefore become self-sustainable, given that funding had just taken so long.
So it's interesting that you have, as you mentioned, already been looking at the financials very closely, and that's fantastic, because a lot of startups, of course, tend to overlook that in an attempt to try and grow. So run us through the business metrics and also the kind of outlook you have going ahead.
So KAARYAH's vision is to be one of the largest brands for Western wear, focused on providing the best possible fit. Now with that comes the responsibility of building a brand. With that comes the responsibility of ensuring that the USP that you're promising, which is the best possible fit, is maintained. And with that comes this need to become a large brand, right? So whether it is large in terms of sales or catalog size, these 3-4 pieces which are part of the vision of KAARYAH are really what convert into metrics, or the things that we monitor financially. Now from the very beginning, we've believed that there are no two definitions to a good business, and therefore a business that makes money is only a good business. Just by virtue of that, we watch our unit economics very, very closely, and just by virtue of that, we were near break-even last April, right?
So Tell me a little bit more in terms of the kind of trends you're observing, Nidhi. It's a really interesting space, actually, a very unique space that you found yourself in, in terms of what you're trying to do in this particular segment of fashion. What are some of the trends you're observing, and where are you seeing, a lot of demand as well?
So interestingly, KAARYAH, just by virtue of the product portfolio, could assume to be something that is relevant only to tier 1 cities or metro cities. But interestingly, we see huge amounts of interest from tier 2, tier 3 as well. In fact, half if not more of our sales comes from those kind of cities. Aside from which, we are seeing that the customer really reacts well to a product that truly understands them. And KAARYAH, just given the innovation that we've had in the back end in terms of the production system and the product development systems, we are able to hear the customer, and they go a really long way in appreciating that. Therefore, truly brand affinities are built, right? So genuinely, I guess what I'm trying to say is that market's not restricted to tier 1 or metros, and also what I'm trying to say is that the customer truly respects a good product which is genuinely focused towards alleviating a certain unmet need. With that comes the need to innovate, with that comes the need to ensure efficiencies through your processes, and that in itself is going to be what proves this business to maintain itself as a good business, right? So unit economics are definitely something that are going to remain in focus, and that seems to be the trend, if we were to take the investment industry itself, that seems to be the focus as well.
So Nidhi, do you also look at the designs yourself? Do you have a team? Are you focused more on the business side of things? How does it work?
As a founder, you just definitely have to wear multiple hats. So yes, I am also my own tech person sometimes, but I guess all I'm trying to say is that I've got a really good team. So what they do is they ensure that it is all absolutely perfect, and then they come to me with alternatives which I would then approve or, sort of send back to tweak. So to answer your question more specifically, I do look at designs myself, in the sense the final approval and, pricing in terms of marketing communications, or even in fact in terms of just business economics, sits still with me along with my COO, Chief of Design. Now she is completely responsible for maintaining and introducing new catalogs, etc. She's of course a designer. She leads a team of 3 designers as well.
Thanks so much for joining us today, Nidhi. Pleasure talking to you. Hope to see you again soon right here on Bloomberg TV India. That's all we could pack into this edition. We'll have to leave it there. Thanks so much for watching.